Yo guys, what is up? Teach here, coming at you again with another video, and I am here right now to show you something that, well, only a few of us have ever actually successfully used. If you can't tell by the gargantuan size of this thing and, well, the name tag right there, this is the Desert Titan. Now this is kind of like, I know a lot of people are like, well, what's the point of it, blah blah blah, some of us can't have this. The Desert Titan is incredibly easy to tame. Literally all you need is a Quetzal. Put yourself in a box, electrify the Quetzal when he shoots you with his electric stuff, and just eventually kill him over time by hitting his little stuff on his shoulders. Now let's talk about what he's used for. Now, this guy has 3 basic attacks. 1, his bite. He also has the ability to hit himself in the back just in case someone lands on you. 2, he's got an electric storm. And then he's got the flock. Now let's talk about this a little bit more. Now, basic stats on this thing, he will spawn in at level of 5,000, just so you know, not 3,750, that's what he spawns in at. And 350,000 base health. Now, he does a ton of base damage as well. I'll show you. 4,650 with his bite. Now, if someone lands on your back because they're going to try and pick you off or do some damage with a Velonosaur, if you look backwards and use this attack, he will smack his tail down wherever you're kind of aiming. So if I'm on this side, he will smack his tail down. On the other side, he smacks it down on this side. Boop. Other side. So you can kind of hit his back. So he's got a little bit of a self-protection scheme, which is pretty useful, obviously. But, I mean, to each their own. The one negative thing is no matter what you're playing on, if you're flying this thing, the map has a tendency to be a little bit glitchy. You can kind of see that when I look around, it gets a little bit blurry, or if you want to, whatever you want to call it. And that's just because he's so gargantuan, it's hard to load that stuff in. Now, with this guy, it can be quite useful, actually, to use his first-person mode, because it's kind of look at this. He blocks basically half your screen. So first-person mode can be quite useful. Now, what sorts of attacks does he have? Now, in first-person mode, you can also aim and electrify things, and I'll show you what that means. He's not very slow. He's got 1 speed, but it's pretty quick. I'm looking right there. And notice, I've got an electric storm that I toss down. Now, boom. It's basically an electric bolt of death, which is pretty neato, and you can kind of see it down there. Really, really great for dismounting players, because it does a ton of base damage. Let's see if I can get... Oh, man. And we're turning again. So, let's go ahead and find something else I can zap real quick. But the zap attack is pretty fun because you can basically look at a certain distance. And as long as you're in first person, it's really easy to actually hit something with this. But notice how it takes a couple seconds to actually spawn in. So you kind of got to get somebody when they're not paying attention. But it does a load of damage. And as long as you're in first person, it's actually pretty easy to aim. Like you see right there. And it zaps the crap out of him. It hits that stage and then... Bzz. Now that is based, if you look in the lower left corner, on 6. So I can sit here, like that, and zap literally everything nearby. And it'll continue to reload. Now it does a ton of damage, so definitely use that. His last attack that you want to know about is called the flock. Now what you do in order to activate the flock, you hit your jump button. And you'll see them release out of my sides. Now, once they've released out of my sides, they kind of sit around and attack things nearby and protect me and do all that kind of stuff. You can see that. Killed the Triceratops, killed that. You can specifically control them, but they will kind of just go around and defend you. How you control them is when you're looking at something, same thing, when they are out, hit C, or your tertiary attack, and then right-click, and it will specifically target that one thing. Like you see right there. Now I can target anything I want. I will go ahead and target this gas bag. And they'll kind of just run around and go after the gas bag. Now, boom, 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 boom. And you can see they do a load of damage. Which is pretty opportune, obviously. Now, it's a bunch of fun to do these things. So what's the point? Now, they used to be super OP because you could actually keep them alive for a long period of time and just soak an entire base with these things. But that is a little bit changed because tech turrets absolutely melt this guy now. So the point of it is actually, it can be a good support tame for PvP. I would suggest having a Desert Titan or some soakers with you, though, so that way this guy's not soaking, because, I mean, think about it this way. If I zoom in, and I'm just using my electric attack like this, covering an entire area, I will zap the crap out of everything nearby, but I'm very, very shootable in this guy, and I've only got 200, I know 250,000 health sounds like a lot, but give somebody a shotgun in a couple of seconds and you're toast, or they drop a Velonosaur on your back, and it's a see you later. So what they're really good at is they are really, really good at doing OSDs. Let's see if I can actually find one. I don't see one nearby, sadly, but I'll go up into the snow biome and show you how they do against like bigger, more effective tames. Let's go ahead and check this out now. And nope, not what I'm looking for. I want to find a Giganotosaurus because I want to show you how quickly these things can just shred literally anything. Now, as you can see, they don't really have a super speed, so you're kind of just like stuck. So if someone decides to be near you, you're in trouble. You always want to make sure you have someone supporting you on this thing, because people do know how to counter it now. All they do is they get a Velonosaur, put it on your back, and then boom, it's over. Let's go ahead and target a T-Rex here so you can see how quickly a Tyrannosaurus just gets shredded by this stuff. Bye-bye. It was only a level 2 T-Rex, but I mean, with a base damage of over 1,000, there's not much you can do when you're being attacked by a Desert Titan. Now, especially if you have like someone covering you or turrets nearby, really, really hard to take out a Desert Titan. I have yet to see someone do a really good job of it if they're having some form of help. Now, usually Giganotosaurus spawn up here. I'm not seeing any at the moment, so we're going to go ahead and move up this hill to some larger corrupted tames. Because Desert Titans are just amazing tames. They can pretty much soak and destroy everything, because with that flock covering them and the amount of damage they can do, raw base damage, they can shred pretty much anything they want to. Now, up this hill is where you find a lot of the larger tames, Reapers, Rock Drakes, and apparently a flying tame. Don't really know what happened there, but okay. And right around this corner should be where we want to end up. Again, the Desert Titan is a lot of fun to use. Even if you've never tamed it, just go grab one. See what it's like. Have a little fun with it. Okay, so right in this area is a very good spot to find yourself a bunch of high-level danger tames. Now, they have a tendency to spawn near the edge right here, and then up behind me. But as you can see, my stuff is just shredding all of it. There's a Giga. Let's go ahead and show you how well this thing does. And you can load them all on top of each other, and this Giga is going to basically get electrocuted. Now, see you, buddy. And we're going to go ahead and target him with the flock. Maybe not, because my flock is currently gone. But you can still see tons of damage get dealt. Come on, bite. There you go, 4,600 damage. Super good. And then you can kind of just sit and bite like this. Obviously you can see that corrupted Dillos have no chance versus this thing. And then you can kind of just sit here and continue to spam his lightning away. Lightning does a pretty fair amount of damage. And I've just targeted it with the flock. Got the Giganotosaurus. Just a good overall tame, this guy is. Really special because, I don't know, I think it's fun. You can kind of just go around and do what you want to do. Target things with the flock. I mean, just the amount of attacks that this thing has is quite nice. I mean, look at that, 8,718 damage. There you go, another 8,000 damage. It's just nuts. Like, I think that they've probably broken it a little bit too much. But that's my opinion, because, I mean, when it comes to ground versus air, air is almost always going to win. Because you have to constantly be paying attention on the ground, and there's a lot of stuff that you need to do. Now let's zoom into first person and just like send this stuff just goodbye. And here comes the lightning strikes. See ya. Just to show you how much damage they actually do. And you can kind of just run around and do whatever you want. There's an enraged Rex, but it still has no chance versus this guy. run around here and shred literally everything. Boom, there's a Reaper. Still no chance. And you can see tons of damage being dealt, which is nice. And in general, just a good tame to have. Now, it can function on its own decently well. However, I really encourage you to have your own driver because it's quite useful. Like if I was to set this thing on aggressive right now, behavior, change target image to high, you can see he's not really good at defending himself. He will soak for a little bit, but I would really encourage you never to leave him alone, to be totally honest with you. I'm going to go and lightning charge the shenanigans out of that, and you can see so much damage being dealt. And we'll just sit here and attack. So anyways, hopefully this little video kind of teaches you a little bit about this guy and how to use him. Really great tame. If you're liking this series, I would really appreciate it if you guys would give me a like and a subscribe. That'd be awesome. But other than that, Teacher's Game 2 with this Desert Titan. Out.